wake up one morning, there's no power, and there's no water, and there's no gasoline. It's going to be a Mad Max scenario. That's what you're going to be confronted with. The government is not going to help you. I'm telling you now what's going to happen. It is absolutely critical, or you're going to die.
Major Ed Dames and his team of remote viewers have worked diligently throughout the years to provide proof of many top-secret enigmas that have been kept behind closed doors and out of the public's eye for decades.
A fury is building on the surface of the sun. Jets of superhot gas. The most violent explosions in our solar system. Science is now taking us on an extraordinary journey into our star to explore the power and rising threat of solar superstorms.
Now, during this time frame, folks, this goes back to February 20th, 2007. This is 1 month later after the photograph that you just observed from January of 2007, the cactus photograph that we just reviewed. Now, this is a video recording from the stereo behind Core 2 spacecraft, which has since been disabled. It's been disabled now for many, many years. This gives us a different perspective of the sun, and we still have stereo A, which means ahead. That spacecraft is still active, but again, that gives us a different perspective, a different view I think one of the main reasons why they took stereo B behind out of commission is because of this reason that you're about to see on your screen now. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, as you're going to see, this object is going to come in. It's going to come in very, very quickly. But again, this is time-lapsed. It's going to make its way, looping around the back side of the sun, which at that point, that would have been Earth-facing. Okay, so this view is not Earth-facing. Okay, this is, I believe, in the L1 position off to the right of the Earth. And you can see it loops around and then it makes its way back out. So it enters into the camera's view on the 20th. And as you can see, the date stamp on the bottom takes several days and it makes its way back out. So you're looking at about approximately 8 days. Now, I believe that this orbital pattern that we're looking at now is now approximately 28 days. I believe now that it is much, much closer to the sun. It has gotten sucked in very, very close to the sun to the point where it is legitimately within the sun's corona as it passes at its closest point in its eccentric orbit. And this is absolutely just incredible footage. Now, there was a New York Times investigative reporter that also found this information, and she publicized it. And she continued to publicize it all the way to the point where she created a website and she was showing this information. She was disguising her name and her identity, but that was soon found out. And from what I understand, there were a lot of attempts to take the information down off of the internet. That was successful. And then finally, somebody got to her. I don't know if they delivered threats and told her to back off, stop using her ability as a New York Times reporter to put this word out, to show this information. And from that point, she disappeared from the spotlight. But she still is a New York Times investigative reporter. Not going to mention her name. I do know her name, but I'm not going to mention it because she is now out of the loop and has been for a long time. But as you can see here, this is the stereo behind core 1. You can see this object coming in. You can see the reaction that the sun has right there. You can see the reaction as the sun gets, as this object gets very, very close to the sun, therefore creating those coronal mass ejections. And once again, this is just looping. It's showing you everything all over again. So these were the earliest detections of our so-called Planet X object, this stellar core object, this unknown object. I mean, I really wish we knew and had, like a compositional makeup of what this object consists of. But obviously, it's a very powerful object. I'm sure that it has a pretty intense magnetic field. I'm pretty sure that by now it's definitely feeding off of the sun. And it's also creating some situations on the sun. We've been seeing it. Now that the sun is dipping into that solar minimum, we will probably see a dramatic decrease in coronal mass ejections. However, whenever we do see those coronal mass ejections, if they happen to be Earth-facing, well, things here on Earth are going to be much more dramatic, because as the sun's magnetic field decreases, so does the Earth's magnetic field, therefore creating much more exposure to our planet and each and every one of us. But that is just something that we will have to wait and see. I'm sure that over the course of the next 11 to 15 years of this solar minimum, I'm sure we're going to see more coronal mass ejections. And I'm sure we're going to make more detections, more observational evidence will come out. You know, many people ask me, why doesn't the government just come out and tell us about this? Well, why doesn't the government just come out and tell us that there's extraterrestrial life out there beyond human beings? That UFOs are real? That they've inhabited the earth for hundreds of thousands of years before mankind? Why don't they tell us all of that? I guess they think that we wouldn't be able to handle it. My theory is, like I've said before, they don't want to lose control. Religions around the world would not want to lose control over their people. The governments of the world would not like to see people panic. I'm sure that if you turned on your television and you were watching any of the mainstream media news outlets, and, you know, NASA and the European Space Agency held a huge press conference, and they were showing, you know, ultra high definition video and observational evidence and talking about this new stellar object that's now a permanent fixture in our solar system. I'm sure if they went on national and worldwide television and they disclosed all of this, I'm pretty sure that people around the world would freak the hell out. People would probably panic. And that's one of the main reasons why they, you know, censor my YouTube channel so much and not other channels. You know, I just watched a video the other day from some small channel putting out some old Nibiru information from, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. And it was like some type of radio broadcast, and, you know, they dubbed in the voices over some pictures, and the video was uploaded onto YouTube like 3 days ago, and it had over 560,000 views. 560,000 views. And this was from just a little personal YouTube channel. I think the person has, like, I think it was either 29 or 39 subscribers, which are probably family members. Because some of the other videos on that channel, it was like, you know, the guy in his yard playing with his dog, some nature videos, a fishing video, catching some fish. And then I guess he just decided to, you know, compile some video clips and put together this Planet X Nibiru video, and he uploaded it to his channel. You won't see any more. You won't see no 500 to 1 million views on any of my videos anymore. That's a fact. That's why I've gone to my private network, our new Planet X News private network on Subscribestar. It's going very, very well. I've had so many people emailing me and messaging me with just pure thanks for what I've done. Even though, you know, the monthly memberships are $5 for the limited access and $10 a month for the full access, I'm not censored. I can get on there and I can show you things and report on things that I can't on YouTube. And I sure as hell can't do it on Facebook. So for any of you that can afford the $10 a month, and I would recommend the full access, Dr. Albers and I are going to be doing bigger things on our new network. There are no trolls. There are no people there to harass you. You can view the information whenever you feel like it. I'm going to be giving access to video information that none of you have ever seen before. It's all going to be right there on our private network. Watches and alerts that deal with weather and our climate. It's all going to be right there, folks, like it is right now, each and every day. I just don't do one post. Well, there's quite a few that go up every single day. And I've been mentioning for years, I want to get away from YouTube because of the censorship. They don't want you to see what you're seeing now. And I know none of you are panicking because you've been listening to me and you've been listening to Dr. Albers for some time now. You are truly the awakened people. Based on that fact, you being part of this network, you being awakened to all of this information, like I've said before, it's now all of our responsibilities to get out there and help others. Help them understand what is happening. And then we can all deal with this together. But I don't think we will ever see this hit mainstream media on CBS or NBC or the BBC or Fox News or the crap news network CNN. I don't think we'll ever see this legitimately put out there in mainstream media. I just don't think it's going to happen. So therefore, we have to move to more of an underground type of information source. Maybe that's what I'll nickname it. Planet X News Underground. Since I've started this new private network, it's worked out very, very well. It's worked out well for a lot of people. Some people were critical of it. Most weren't. I will stay on YouTube as much as I can. But I've had now to limit what I show on Facebook. I don't even bother, excuse me, I don't even bother with Twitter. But the fact of the matter is, folks, there's a lot of people out there within these social media groups that are putting out bad information just to attract your attention. That's it. They really don't show you any scientific evidence. They talk about old junk from 5 and 10 years ago and 15 years ago, possibly even longer than that. You show me one YouTube channel that has produced better observational evidence than what I have detected and captured, and that includes Dr. Albers and all of her scientific reports. Some of you may not agree with all of them, but that's your prerogative. Just by looking at your screen right now, you say to yourself, wow, what the hell was that? I had one other amateur astronomer YouTuber back several years ago tell me that this was the moon, our moon. You know, that gray ball in the sky. Mathematically, it's impossible. But they made a big stink about it for a whole year. It was the moon. The moon passing behind the sun. Oh, it's all trickery. I don't think so, folks. Take into consideration that not too long after this footage was revealed, that NASA took the Stereo B spacecraft out of commission. They made up a story. They said that it was going into some type of a spin. It was out of control. Things malfunctioned, and they no longer have control over it, and it's no longer transmitting data. Do I believe that? No, I do not. Because they built two identical spacecrafts at the same time, Stereo B and Stereo A. They're both in different positions, but one failed. But it only failed after this footage. And the Stereo B, which means behind, maybe that would have been giving us a much better view of what we call Planet X. And that's what I mean, folks, about me being very, very analytical. I try to put 2 and 2 together, and I try to come up with 4. I like to deal in facts, not make-believe. And when I talk about the biblical prophecy, biblical scripture, I'm not knocking anybody. We just don't have any proof of that. Those things probably happened back then. There may be similarities to what is happening now, but there are way too many differences. And I do agree that throughout all of these thousands and tens of thousands of years, there have probably been other objects, interstellar objects, that have come in to our solar system and wreaked havoc. And that will continue for all eternity. It's just the way that outer space works. And there is still the huge factor of the unknown. Humanity doesn't know everything about outer space, our solar system. Hell, we don't know everything about our own planet. But I do know this much, folks. Based on all these years of reading and researching, monitoring, investigating, I've only come to one conclusion after all of this. And that is, that object has been captured by our sun. It is now a fixture within our inner solar system. It has a very acute orbital pattern with the sun within side of the orbit of Mercury. All of the evidence points to that direction. If somebody can prove me wrong, I would love to hear your theory. But please, bring me hardcore evidence. Because that's exactly what you get right here on Planet X News.
Earth's magnetic field has begun collapsing faster than astrophysicists believed possible.
The threat of a global pandemic is at an all-time high since the pandemic.
North Korea continues missile testing, and again,
Massive radiation plume is heading towards the west coast.
Has threatened the United States with all-out nuclear war.
paving the way for dire implications from solar activity.
To increase health risk,
A lot of power grids going down, a lot of death.